I guess that would be maybe considered crony capitalism, where in China, the leaders of China, the communist leaders, their children are coming into with the big businesses and making profits that they shouldn't be allowed to make. In other words, it's still communist. There's maybe a hint of capitalism or something that they're trying to put in there.
It's theft, as Frederick Bastiat would say. It's legal plunder.
Yeah.
When crony capitalism or anything, for example, free credit. Look at Solyndra. That's the poster child for crony capitalism. It involves free credit.
If you got the people in Hollywood saying, "Oh, this is wrong," the young people, there'd be enough outcry. Instead, the young people are holding up communist signs.
Right. The media now is playing a much greater role in promoting this than, let's say, 100 years ago or 50 years ago. They're the echo chamber for the rich pay their fair share.
Yeah.
And again, progressive taxation is the problem, not the income tax itself.
Is there, and I've asked this question before, the Hollywood unions cozying up to the Democrats so they don't really have to pay their fair share of progressive tax? They're one of the exceptions, along with
they're an exception in Obamacare, yes.
Yeah. What are the other exceptions?
Well, the union's wages, they're still subject to progressive taxation. There's the bank bailouts and things like that, that's part of crony capitalism. There were some financial firms and banks and GE, Chrysler got sold to a foreign Fiat, I believe. That's just a symptom of the problem. People think that they should get stuff for free. And that is going to, Alexis de Tocqueville said, 200 years for the most great civilizations. We're in overtime right now. And what I think is one of the most frightening aspects of progressive taxation is the statistics now are the top 50% of the wage earners in this country pay 97% of federal income tax, which means the bottom 50% of the wage earners in this country pay 3%. Effectively, they don't pay federal income tax at all. But everybody gets the same vote. And again, as de Tocqueville said, the Congress figures out they can bribe people with their own money. The people figure out they can vote themselves the money. When you have 50% of the people in this country paying no taxes and yet getting all this goods and services from the government, that pushes us over a cliff, almost a point of no return. Because they have no skin in the game. They're not paying taxes. They're essentially voting taxes for the other people who make more money.
Yeah, and me growing up in a single-parent home and probably in the poverty, bracket, I believe, and I think we did pay some taxes, if I remember right, back then. I think it's changed since then, but I believe that we should have paid the same in a flat tax rate, and the reason is because it gives you a stake in the game. It makes you feel American, like you have a say. Like when you do vote, you have a reason to vote a certain way.
Well, all tax proposals, the flat tax or variants of our current tax system, they all have exemptions of the first X dollars of income. That's your basic food and shelter. And the flat tax, I think, actually has higher exemptions than our current system. And then you get exemptions for children and things like that. So there is stuff built in to the system that most people consider equitable. It's the progressive nature of the tax system that results in people not having any skin in the game.
Yeah. I want to transition. We're about out of time. We're talking about the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto, and interesting, there's 10 planks of the New World Order, and so I want to go just mention the second one. And
there's one 10 commandment that comes to mind.
In the Georgia Guidestones?
No, regarding to the second plank of the Communist Manifesto, which is thou shalt not covet, because I've always said that one of the key cornerstones of liberalism is envy. And envy thrives on inequality, and not inequality before God or before the law, but inequality of situation. And that's what people use to justify progressive income tax. They essentially covet. And so I tend to think of that part of the Ten Commandments as being directly contradicting Plank 2 of the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, the Communist Manifesto goes solidly against the Bible. Karl Marx was a Christian at first. He, when he learned evolution, he believed in evolution, which is false. He lost his faith in God and became a anti-God.
Well, that's essential for dictatorships, because if the supreme authority is God, then they essentially compete with a dictator. So atheism, enforced or just part of their theology, atheism is a cornerstone of tyranny.
Yep, yeah, that's right.
Because dictators don't like competition.
Yep, that's right. So the Georgia Guidestones, the New World Order Plank 2 is guide reproductive wisely. / improving fitness and diversity, which we see Michelle Obama really
I think that's
trying to
called
emphasize.
eugenics.
Yeah.
Hitler was good at that.
Yeah, and we see it now in the United States easily with abortion. The legislation, this is from Rand Paul, will directly channel $7 billion in taxpayer funding to abortion for providers like Planned Parenthood under the guise of community health services. And there's more to this, but for lack of time, I better stop there. But that's what they're using our tax dollars for. That's one reason they want to tax the rich, so they can continue down that agenda.
You figure the left would not would oppose abortion, because now they're missing out on, what, 26 million taxpayers?
Yeah.
Since Roe v. Wade?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they don't think far enough ahead. What does God think about taxes? In 1 Samuel 8, he was trying to warn the people not to ask for a king, Israel, because he said that if they have another king other than God himself, that the king wouldn't be fair. And
be careful what you ask for.
Be careful what they ask for. And this was a prophecy he said would take place, that he would take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. He will take 1/10 of your seed and your vineyards and give them to his officers and to his servants. And he'll take your men servants and your maid servants and the best young men and your asses and put them to his work. And he'll take 1/10 of your sheep, and you will be his servants. Now, is that what we're doing? We're serving
Actually, what is
right
frightening about that prophecy is Samuel considered 10% to be tyranny.
Yeah.
And we crossed that threshold
a long time ago.
Generations ago.
Yep.